the country. Now, Hillary Clinton was asked about the war in Afghanistan back in the day, and what she said was brutally honest and correct. Let's watch.
To be fair, we had helped to create the problem we're now fighting.
How?
Because
American taxpayers who are desperate for a better life here in America, they need to hand over billions of dollars to the Israeli government and the IDF, and we need to shut the F up about any of our—
Ana Kasparian has good reason to criticize Hillary Clinton. In essence, she entered a new political sphere. Imagine a verbal boxing match where one boxer is wearing heels, the other participants are carrying decades worth of political baggage, and the referees are just chewing popcorn. This argument was not polite. The roast equivalent of that was burning the draperies while the band was still playing. By the time Ana was done, Hillary's emails probably wanted to hide under the desk.
Why would Republican lawmakers care about what Democratic voters think? Democratic voters aren't going to vote for them. They're voting for Democratic lawmakers who are totally abandoning them and doing nothing. Look, everyone understands that Republicans are in charge right now. Everyone understands that Donald Trump is the president and Republicans have a majority in Congress, in both the House and the Senate. We get it. But there is a clear distinction between Democrats and Republicans when the shoe is on the other foot and Republicans don't have the majority.
If you like it, kindly subscribe to the channel. You'll be surprised at how much it helps. In Washington, D.C., Hillary Clinton has been in politics for so long that she is practically a piece of furniture. If you listen closely when you enter the city, you can actually still hear her voice from the 1990s reverberating slightly off the marble. She is the political equivalent of an overly long-running comedy. Since it had a fantastic start and a few really noteworthy episodes, you're probably wondering why it's still showing. After that, Ana Kasparian decides she will do more than simply critique the performance. She will burn the laugh track, destroy the stage, and roast the actors.
Twice failed Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton comes out and chides the Democratic voters into supporting her preferred candidate in the general election. Now, she did the chiding, she did the scolding.
Because this is the issue. I agree with her in equal measure, but Hillary Clinton has built a strong reputation for herself. Why do we continue to spend time with her? You are the one with Wall Street on speed dial, but you also present yourself as a progressive champion. It's that strange act of political magic. Without blinking, she is the politician who can walk into a room full of millionaires, accept checks big enough to fund a small nation, and then turn around and talk about fighting inequality.
Because there's one tweak I want to make right off the bat, which is I don't see the Democratic Party really going out of its way to initiate this process of elevating transgender issues. What I have seen is an effort to respond to the right wing, turning the transgender community into its latest boogeymen and women in an attempt essentially to distract as they always.
Ana Kasparian was not going to take that, bless her. Hillary basically attached her best hits to a rocket and sent them directly into the sun. After all, Hillary is used to taking criticism. She has drawn criticism from Republicans, Democrats, independents, members of her own party, volunteers for her 2016 campaign, and probably at least 3 baristas who weren't happy with the way she bought her coffee. But Ana's takedown had a different effect. It was not a polite piece of opinion writing. Half the people who still think that Facebook memes alone stole 2016 were probably triggered by it because it was sharp, relentless, and so full of truth.
So you kind of know where she's coming from. She says, crowds at Trump rallies called for my imprisonment more times than I can count. They shouted guilty, guilty, like the religious zealots in Game of Thrones chanting shame, shame, while Cersei Lannister walked back to the Red Keep. Okay, so for those of you who don't watch Game of Thrones and have no idea who Cersei Lannister is, she's best known for being the ruthless, power-hungry villainess who is responsible for the deaths of thousands just so she can sit on the Iron Throne. Wow.
Not the comparison you want.
We're talking about a female candidate who lost to Donald Trump in an election. Think about that for a moment. The same who couldn't put together a meaningful sentence without resorting to word salad, and whose campaign was essentially a reality TV show with a cameo from chaos itself. That bag, however, was handled so horribly by Hillary's strategy that it is still rolling down a hill somewhere. Well, we tried was more of her campaign's theme than yes, we can. And every time this is brought up, she gives a different explanation. Weather, sexism, bias in the media, foreign interference, and probably bad Wi-Fi in Wisconsin.
The people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
And I refused to accept it. She started exploring the pattern right away. How Hillary's political worldview is based on this business-friendly centrism that is cloaked as pragmatism. For decades, politicians have masked half measures with slogans, while the wealthy thrived and others sank in medical debt, and Hillary excelled at it. Her foreign policy record reads like a military contractor's brochure. Iraq, Libya, Syria. She could boost Lockheed Martin's stock before finishing a speech, delivering regime change with trademark confidence.
Hillary Clinton's book is getting a lot of attention because she has written some pretty insane things in that book. Now, one of the more insane things that was brought to light by, unfortunately, a Breitbart reporter was a portion of her book where she compares herself to Cersei Lannister from...
Ana didn't think twice about exposing that history. In actuality, someone had to. She didn't just look at it, she got right to the point of contention. She exposed the absurd gap between Hillary's lofty claims of protecting democracy and her record of backing strategies that destabilize regions. It's like claiming to love animals while working at a butcher shop, totally incompatible. She even mocked the Clinton Foundation, saying its donor list looked more like a VIP brochure of elites than charity. Donations weren't selfless, they were strategic investments.
And so what I see happening is they attack the transgender community, and Democrats try to intervene and, in some sense, virtue signal that they're different from Republicans in that regard. But also, use that kind of messaging to campaign against Republicans and like the hatred they put out there.
Ana's explanation was so clear that it was difficult to misread the message. This was not just a place to raise money for charity. The objective was to sell a VIP admission to the political theme park. The mechanism we are talking about does not require your vote to gain entry. A large check with additional zeros is a math teacher's worst nightmare. Meetings, influence, and favors. It was essentially the greatest political concierge service out there. The same Hillary who had spent years promoting herself as the champion of transparency and honesty was running this circus. While she would be out there smiling for the cameras and babbling about her public duty, you could just hear the cha-ching of the political cash register somewhere in the background. You would need a strong microscope to discern between corporate and charitable lobbying because of the entire circumstance.
I have a hard time not disliking more of who I am, right? So it's not like I'm reading some headlines and I'm like, hey, I want to engage in some political discourse.
Ana didn't just call it out, she ripped the cover off, exposing how democracy had become a luxury for the rich. Charging for civic engagement means running an exclusive donor club, not a government for the people. The hypocrisy isn't even hidden anymore. It parades openly while speeches distract from the truth. That's why Ana's outburst hit so hard she tore down the curtain and showed politics for what it was. An auction run by someone in a pantsuit.
And so what I appreciated about that exchange wasn't that I agree with what the United States did to defeat the Soviets in Afghanistan, but I think that that's a perfect example of how the United States and its foreign policy goes in and essentially just creates more problems through its intervention.
Ana's outburst also aptly encapsulated one of the most aggravating features of Hillary's political presence. Hillary's constant rebranding feels like a political comeback tour. Plenty of products, little new content. She's been everything from senior stateswoman to feminist icon to almost president, depending on the audience. But her career also reflects the Democratic elite's flaws: hawkish foreign policy, corporate ties, neglect of working-class voters, and the belief that resumes alone win elections, even with out-of-touch policies.
So yes, that was the one scene where you felt slight sympathy for Cersei Lannister as she walked, and
Shame.
they said,
Shame. Shame.
Ana was also ruthless in her speech. She not only revealed the narrative's weaknesses, but also destroyed it, much like a classified document on a Clinton email server. She highlighted how the Democratic Party finds it almost impossible to adapt when every criticism of Hillary's political strategy is presented as an attack on progress itself. That's the same line of thinking that says criticizing a CEO must mean you hate capitalism. No, sometimes you're just pointing out that while being quite costly, the emperor's pantsuit is incredibly transparent. After the election, she seemed more interested in taking a world tour to explain why she wasn't to blame to everyone who had a microphone. It's like seeing a chef wreck dinner and then spend the rest of the night in the oven, justifying their seasoning.
While Mrs. Clinton said that a Democratic presidential candidate was the favorite of the Russians, and an aide later confirmed the reference was to Miss Gabbard, Mrs. Clinton's remark about the grooming of a third-party candidate in the 2020 race was in response to a question about the Republicans' strategy, not about Russian intervention.
Do you understand what's happening here? This is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen.
Ana's attack highlighted the absurdity of Hillary being cast as a progressive trailblazer while sidelining those who push real change. Every time new progressive voices rise, Clinton's circle counters with electability talk. The media helps. She enters cable news with scripted points, avoids tough questions, and leaves. Ana's outburst wasn't just about Hillary, but about the culture that shields her, framing critique as betrayal. That's political blackmail, and it has kept Democrats playing defense for decades.
Politicians love to exploit MLK Day to push whatever agenda they might have. Either that or they just put out a simple tweet to at least make it seem like they're honoring the legacy of MLK.
Ana painted a damning picture, a politician shaped by the game, tied to elites, blind to change outside her bubble. The reactions split. Some cheered, others cringed, but few denied the accuracy.
The fact that they shoot at people as they're waiting in line for humanitarian aid. Dozens of people get shot and killed literally every single day, as they're waiting for food. No, I'm not gonna let you filibuster, bitch. I'm not gonna let you filibuster. I'm not gonna let you filibuster. You guys are totally okay with IDF soldiers shooting and killing desperate people waiting for humanitarian aid. You're okay with that. I find it so unbelievably evil. Unbelievably evil. It shocks my conscience and my soul that people as evil as this exist in this world.
Hillary's legacy deserves scrutiny, and Ana delivered it with precision and fire. The debate shows the end of untouchable political royalty. Younger voters don't care about resumes, they want results. Criticism is no longer taboo, and Hillary should see Ana's roast as rare honesty, a sharp, unfiltered authenticity politics rarely allows.